Wow, what a festive vibe. Hi everyone and welcome to a new Adobe Live session. Today I have the absolute honor to host our one and only Tim, who is going to be showcasing his view on the Festive Challenge using Photoshop, Neuro filters, and of course, After Effects. I want to say hi to everyone here joining us on the chat. Please, if you're on YouTube, do switch to behance.net/live so we can say hello to you, answer your questions, and just have the community join us today. How are you, Tim? How's it been?
I am doing great, and I'm very excited for the Festive Challenge. And I prepared myself by playing some sound effects.
Yeah, and I tried to find like an ugly Christmas sweater. Not sure if it's working, but
I see.
Yeah,
I see. Right. So you said it already. Today is going to be all about the Festive Challenge, and if you haven't heard of that Festive Challenge, then you are missing out because we do have a wonderful thing going on at the moment, which I will show you. Da, 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 da. We are asking you to submit your festive story to the Adobe Live community, and you could win, with a bit of luck, a great prize, which is... Do you have yours, Natalie?
It's already here. Ta-da! You could win this. You could totally win this.
Right. I mean, not this one. This is mine. I'm keeping this, but you can win one similar to this. Right. Which I'm not wearing because it's way too warm in the studio. Anyway, let's have a look at the chat, shall we?
Yeah. So, hi, Sandrine, Annika, Tony Harmer is with us, Christelle, and we've also had some amazing submissions from the community, such as Jackie's and Tony's amazing animations for the Festive Challenge. So, get it done. Do submit before December 15th for a chance to win cool prizes, including that amazing sweater. And not just because of the prizes, but because, we would love to see your amazing submissions. It's such an amazing campaign. It's the festive season. So we can't wait to see what's your take on this one. So are we excited to get this started, Tim?
Born ready, I suppose. Yes, I'm just trying to set my Adobe stock to English, preferably the UK version, which I can't find. That's great. Thanks, Adobe. Let's just stick with the US. I know, heresy. Anyway, all right. So, shall we just go over to my computer?
Let's do that.
Because before we get started, I would like to show you two things. One of them is, if I can find my Slack, there it is, and let's make it big. Ooh. We promised you to show the one from Tony, and there we go. This is his finished animation illustration that he did on Wednesday while we were live. And I'm really like this. Let's make it. Oh, not that big. Oh,
as long as you don't zoom in on my face, that's all good. Just zoom on the.
Oh, isn't that nice? Wonderful. And of course, let me just close Slack so I don't get any messages. And we also have a great submission, which unfortunately I can't play because I'm not logged in. Duh.
Okay.
But
you go to Jackie's profile on Instagram.
It's animated.
And check it out. Animated. Love it.
Can't.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see the community submissions on this one.
Yes. So do submit. There is a challenge tab above. There should be a challenge tab above the chat.
Yeah.
For some reason, there isn't one today. All right.
Well, they can still go to Discord, to our Discord channel. So for more information, and remember, December 15th is the last deadline. So let's do this.
Let's do this. All right, we have an hour, so let's get started. I was thinking, people are sharing their festive stories, and they are talking about all the traditions. And I was thinking, do I have any? Like, I don't really like Christmas trees. Going outside. Family meetings. Oh, no. So my very nerdy festive tradition is, well, that's not true. I do it all the time, but trying to do things inside the Adobe apps which are not meant to be done. So yes, and one of them I showed this earlier in the in another stream, but I just wanted to highlight it this time. And this is also the reason why it says Artificial Dreams in the title. I know it's a very fancy title, but all that means is perhaps we can take a photo that just doesn't look like anything, and we could use some of the cool filters in Photoshop to transform it into something new to give us perhaps inspiration for our Christmas, our festive challenge. Who knows? And I was thinking, you know, why don't we try the neural filter? Because it's new, right? And I like it. And even though this isn't a landscape, why don't we ask Photoshop, like, hey, dream us up something, think about this as a landscape, and let's see what happens. So I turn this on and perhaps pick, I don't know, this one. And now Photoshop is going ahead and trying to think like, ooh, yes, I can see grass, I can see trees, I can see mountains, and it will give us back something that just wasn't there before. And imagine you're doing an illustration perhaps for your festive challenge, and you just need that extra spark of inspiration, like a landscape for you to use, or perhaps you're doing a composite, and you just need that extra bit of inspiration that wasn't there before. All right, interesting, but I wasn't discouraged by this at all, because I simply said, okay, thanks Photoshop, let me crop this. There we go, and let's just try it again. You know, why can't we apply a filter twice? Who says we can't do that? So let's just do that one more time. Okay, now Photoshop is thinking, it has to apply this, and of course it's doing this on my machine, so it takes a moment, but once Photoshop thought about all of that, like, interesting, I can see more trees.
What could I do there? Ooh.
Yes, more trees. And we're starting to see perhaps there's a sky about here, perhaps there's some grasslands. And this, of course, is random every time I do it. So sometimes it works better, sometimes it doesn't. But who says that we couldn't just apply this again and again, or even, you know, say Photoshop, try to make this a winter landscape, because festive challenge makes sense to have it a winter landscape. And Photoshop will go ahead and say, yep, sure, no problem, Tim. You're paying for this. I'm doing it. And it will go ahead and do a winter landscape. Why am I saying all this? Okay, perhaps this isn't the most prettiest winter landscape, but nothing we couldn't adjust with perhaps cranking up the winter slider or going farther than that. But why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I want to encourage you to give all those filters in Photoshop and the other apps, as a matter of fact, give it a try. See how you can perhaps use them in a different way that wasn't intended to be used. For example, I mean, we can just see, we started here, went over this, came here and finished here. Perhaps you're not using this as a starter photo, perhaps you're using a face as a starting photo. And I was thinking, I want to become one with nature. So I applied the neural filters, and suddenly there's grass and trees growing on my hair. I'm in winter. Suddenly I am part of the winter landscape, and perhaps this could be a great project for you just to try out and see if you could make something out of that. Perhaps a 4 seasons project. Who knows? Or perhaps you could cut this out, make it into a composite. Father Nature. Right?
I love this. Yeah, I do invite. I mean, I tried it myself. It's absolutely fascinating because, of course, you know, we're used to the right, like the layers and everything, but now we have the neural filters that, you know, that can create magic. So it's such an exciting feature to try. And yeah, and just as a reminder, by the way, it is the festive challenge, so it doesn't have to be all Christmassy or anything. Just like Tim says, you know, we just want to see your take on the festive season. And you know, see you explore with different assets and stuff. So don't just feel like limited with the theme. But yeah, so now we have a different. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was just playing around. I had something prepared, but I accidentally closed it, unfortunately, so can't show it anymore. But perhaps we just do this as the last one and then actually go into After Effects and Photoshop to actually talk about the 3D animation part, which is the more interesting one. This was just to show that you can also go the other way around. And I encourage you, this is also an image from Adobe stock, so why don't you, if you have the time at home, perhaps use some of your photos and reuse them in a way that you didn't think of before. That's all I wanted to say.
Creative. Go crazy.
So let's move on to my main topic of the stream, which is 3D animation. And I want to show you an easy way to do it. So everyone, hopefully...
An easy way to do 3D. I thought that was
I mean, to be fair, it's more of like 2.5D.
Okay.
Still pretty cool.
Okay.
Right, okay, so let's... I mean, I like this result, by the way, and I really want to play with it, but we don't have the time, so let me close it. Don't save. And also, we can close this. Do not save. And I found this photo on Adobe.
Which I thought was new, by the way. I thought it was a cute...
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's totally me. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's say there's a cute kid Tim on Adobe stock.
Yeah. I mean, I could have done some flying cats and animated them in 3D, perhaps over a bridge or anything like that with some turtles and lasers, but I didn't want to do that. Instead, I thought, let's keep it friendly and let's keep it fun, and let's animate this photo. So pretend this is one of my childhood photos, and I want to surprise my parents and give them and remake this photo in a way that's just new and different. So I don't just hand them a Christmas card which just has like text, Merry Christmas, a photo, and that's done. Why don't we make it animated? So let's
that's amazing.
Right? And imagine...
And have them fascinated, yeah.
Imagine having black and white photos, perhaps, using the neural filters to colorize them and animate. That would be a great gift for your relatives, let me tell you.
I like that.
All right. So to prepare this image to make it 3D, we have to separate it into the different layers, into a foreground, midground, and background. And of course, we can separate it into many different layers. I think today we will use one for the table down here, another one for the glass and the hand, another one for the subject, for the kid, and of course, one final one for the background. So this is how we are going to separate them. I will zoom out so we're not covering the frame, or I will just move our camera over so we are not in the way. There we go, that's better. All right, let's get started. The easy way to select, of course, is to use my favorite tools, which is Select Subject, which is a super easy way to just one click select the main subject of the image, which in this case, of course, is the kid with the glass. So, yeah, that's cool. Put it on a new layer, Command or Control J, and now I have it on one layer. And now I'm going to do exactly the same with all the other objects. By the way, I've tried using Mask All Objects, but this wasn't really the perfect result for me. Sometimes this does wonders and great results, but today I don't think it will help us much. Maybe we can give it a try. Let's see what it does.
Yeah, I guess it's all about, experimenting sometimes, and it depends on the photo.
You know what? It's actually not that bad.
Okay, so we have different layers here.
Who would have thought? But we're still going to do it manually. Because otherwise the stream would be over. Cool.
We want to spend more time with our community.
That's right. And I want to show you more cool tips. Starting with, let's select the table at the front. So I think for this we can just use Quick Select and quickly brush over the table. There we are. And then why don't we jump into Select and Mask just to refine the table, because it should be out of focus, but it looks very much like it is not. So I will show Overlay so we can see what is selected and what isn't. And then I will first of all make it a bit more blurry by increasing the feather radius. And of course, I really want to have this, what is it, like this?
Tree?
Branch?
No.
Tree branch? Yeah. I want to have that as part of the table. So let me just select that very quickly using my favorite tools, of course. I hope you're enjoying the very quiet Christmas music in the background, dear chat.
Yeah, I love it.
I mean, Natalie, you unfortunately can't hear it. Should I turn it on for you? Would you like to hear it?
That
or is it distracting
amazing.
for you? Can keep it off? Okay.
I did check it out on backstage, so it's all good. I hope everyone is enjoying it. I don't know if people are seeing snow though. Like, do we have snow falling at the? No, we don't. Okay.
No, perhaps we will add some snow at the end. Spoilers. Okay. Click OK. And also pop this on a new selection. And now we have the table and the kit. Lovely. Let's continue. And I told you that I wanted to separate also the glass, which of course contains grape juice. Grape juice.
Grape juice. Okay.
Tea, of course, as we know.
Black tea.
Black tea, yeah. And I don't have to be super precise with these selections because they are all pretty blurry anyway, so we're going to apply some blur to that. And I think for this, we even go into quick mask mode, shortcut key Q, to just brush in some of the blur manually with a soft round brush. I can go in and just soften the edge for a bit. And I feel like the quick mask workspace is just an underused tool. Nobody really likes it for some reason, and I don't know why. It's a great tool.
Manual. You like to do manual things.
Yeah. Because, you just sometimes you need more control.
Yeah.
You need more control in life.
Wow, we have a busy chat here. People are enjoying.
Yes, any questions? If you have them, post them
please
in the chat.
do your
Natalie,
questions.
If you're chatting on YouTube, come on over to behance.net/Adobe Live. Once again, that's behance.net/Adobe Live. That's where we are reading the chat. Almost forgot.
Yes, please. So this way you can join the chat and ask your questions, and I will share them with Tim over here while he cleans up this amazing Adobe image.
I'm separating all the layers, and I'm doing this rather quickly, mostly because, spoiler, I was already doing this in the German stream, and it took 90 minutes, and today we only have 60. So we have to be a bit quicker. So, let's select the background, which should be hopefully rather easy. I could have also, I could have selected the subject and just inverted the selection. That would have also selected the background, but oh well. Anyway, let's go into select and mask. See what we did. Yep, that is looking great. Perhaps we don't want to have this, so let's just brush that out. And if we're not perfect, and if we don't get every pixel, that's fine. That's okay.
That's fine. No one is perfect, guys. No one. Tim, like thinking about the festive season, do you have any memory that pops in your mind, like the first thing that pops in your mind that is like your favorite thing to do during the festive season?
A favorite thing to do in the festive season? Yes.
Besides drinking grape juice, obviously.
Yeah, of course. I mean, first things first, it's of course spending time with you and the community. I mean, obviously. Duh.
Cool. Okay, lovely.
Just make sure. One very important tradition for me, which won't make much sense for all the UK viewers, is to watch Bud Spencer and Terence Hill films and movies. They are very big here in Germany because the translation is super funny, which just doesn't come across. So that's one big tradition which we do with the family, and we just gather around the TV or any streaming service, of course. And just get together and watch some classic movies. And I'm not sure if Julia Zieger is in the chat, but she also is a big fan of.
Yeah, I don't know if we have any Germans in the chat here that can relate, but that sounds interesting. That sounds cool.
It is very funny.
It's funny. Nice.
And what's interesting, the original the original dubbing wasn't even that funny, and the Germans, they added some weird phrases and sentences where they didn't even say anything in the original one, and it was just great. Yeah, they were just facing the other side of the camera. You couldn't see their face, and the Germans just added some text, just any old random things, and yeah, it's great. I wish I could translate it for you, but I literally had no idea how to do that.
All good, all good.
Right, so what I'm doing now, this is a very important part of this whole workflow. I've separated the individual layers, and now we have to fill in some of the gaps, because if we don't, remember, we are going to animate that and perhaps pull through the camera. We could run into issues where we would see transparent pixels, because if the layers are moving, they may or may not reveal something that wasn't just in the original photo. So what I'm doing now is just I'm trying to fill those empty parts of the layers. And in this case, I think we are just going to try content aware fill, see what Photoshop can do for us. And
let's do it.
Hey, presto.
Yeah. Oh.
Right, pretty good. And of course, we could go ahead and refine whatever those artifacts at the edge. And
I have a question from Jackie. Yeah. How did you select the empty area?
I used my trusty old. I can show that.
Zoom, 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 zoom.
This one, the quick selection tool. I selected the background, and then just inverted that selection, Command-Shift-I or Control-Shift-I to get the inverted selection. And then I was able to fill that in. That's how I did it. Or,
good old selection tool.
Or if you were talking about the other thing, you can also just hold down Command, click on the layer, and it will select the content of the layer. And then you can say Command-Shift-I, and it will invert the selection. So now you have everything that wasn't part of that layer. That also works. And now I'm using a graphics tablet. This is why I can paint like this really quickly. And I'm just painting out these artifacts. And it doesn't matter if the background isn't filled in perfectly. Most of this won't even appear later. So yeah, we're fine.
I think it looks good. It's so zoomed in, right? It's.
Say again?
No, it's super zoomed in right now.
Yeah, no, not much. That's just the background.
Not really, okay.
No. But since this is the background, I could go ahead and just blur everything and nobody would notice.
No, we don't want that.
But if
we want to show it's difficult.
I mean, nobody knew this stock picture before I showed it, probably, unless you watched the German stream earlier this week. But say this was, so it wouldn't have mattered if I just took another background, blurred it, and told you, hey, this is another background. But plus, let's say you have a family photo where you are at a very specific location, perhaps a theme park or anything, or at your Christmas tree or outside or wherever. Then, of course, you can't just replace the background. That's just not how it works. So you have to actually go in and fill in those gaps. And we're going to do the same thing for the other layers too, because this one mostly, when we will move through the image, maybe we will see the edge of that layer, and I would just want to have at least something so it's not super obvious that the layer was ending there before we made the edits. So in this case, it's going to be super easy. I could take... why don't we just use the marquee tool or the marquee tool, make a selection, and just transform.
Amazing. I'm going to invite the chat to share with us their favorite festive season memory, maybe.
Yeah.
And yeah, so feel free, guys, to share with us what's your favorite memory, or what would you like to do this festive season, actually. So, watching classic, we have here, like we have people.
What are you doing?
For me, it's always food, Tim.
Easy,
favorite. Like, I don't know why though. We do turkey in my family. I don't know why turkey is famous there, but even though it's a Thanksgiving thing, we go big on the turkey and mashed potatoes, and nice. So my favorite memory and my favorite future memory is always about food. So, But yeah, we have people here like talking about Christmas movies, just family gatherings. I guess, yeah, that's what the festive
nice.
season is all about.
Love it. Right, I'm just going to clean up that edge for a tiny bit. And I think for this one, yeah, just increase the smoothing so we have hopefully a smooth edge, and it's just whoop. Just like this. We don't make any mistakes. We just have happy accidents. And you notice I'm using the eraser tool. Oh no. He's working destructively.
What's wrong with I use it sometimes. I mean,
People
it's not
don't
like
it. They think it's wrong. Like pineapple on pizza. That is wrong, but you know.
Let's make the erase tool cool again. I'm sure like we're the cool people here using
the erase tool can do some cool things.
I know.
There's some very interesting options in here. You can erase with a certain brush. Can't do that with can't do that normally. And sometimes, you know, I know for a fact that on this layer will never ever want the background. So why should I keep it? Why should I add a mask and just make things difficult? Why do we always have to make things difficult?
Yeah.
No. But to be honest, of course, I could use a mask and make it non-destructive. However, I don't care. Right.
Yeah. It's all about your workflow.
It is. It is. Okay. Cool. Right. So oh yes, the kid is missing. I still forgot to add some content from here. And of course, let's pretend we were in After Effects and I was animating this and I was trying to move this mark. Look what happens. Oh, no, hang on. Let's move it to the front. And I was trying to move this. Well, that's not great. We don't want to have two versions. So what we have to do now is just remove the mark from this layer so we don't have one. So we don't have two marks in the same image. Of course. Wouldn't be a great idea. So unfortunately, we don't have too much pixels to sample from. So what I'm left with, and what I also did in the German stream, I just have to paint.
Paint?
Yep. Using a brush and just go over it. And perhaps, yeah, maybe I will use a new layer just to be on the safe side for this one. But there's no way around it. You just have to sometimes paint.
Oh, we're removing the glass.
Yep. Because we don't want to have two glasses in the same shot.
So we are painting. We're not using the...
Nope.
Okay.
Literally just taking a brush, sampling, holding down the Option key. I could just take this red and I would just paint over this.
Tony's saying, CMD click that mug layer first. Command click. Command click that. Is that CMD?
I mean, yes, yeah. I suppose what he's saying is he wants to make sure that I am not painting over any transparent pixels, but
yeah.
That's fine. We have to paint something down here anyway. And
we have to have a battle. We have to have a creative battle between Tony and Tim's tools. That would be amazing to see, which we already did actually in the past sessions.
And as you know, Natalie, I'm not an illustrator. But still, I'm not afraid just to use the paintbrush, which is a perfectly legitimate tool. They used to do this.
Now it looks like a really ugly Christmas sweater. So you're doing a good job.
I'm not done yet. So two things. First of all, that's just what they used to do back in the days. They airbrushed things, and it worked fine. And of course, we mustn't forget that we will add this layer on top after that. So most of what I'm doing won't even show up. So we're fine, you know?
Okay.
So I don't have to take too much responsibility to paint this in. And if it's just like this, that's fine.
That's just fine.
It is. Nobody will notice, honestly.
But this is so much fun. Like this proves that it's I really can't wait to see what people is gonna come up with. It's super fun to just play around and even using like old tools from Photoshop. Like how cool is that? And mixing them with the new features.
Yeah. Sometimes you can just paint your worries away.
Oh, I love this. Let's quote you on this one. Copyright that quote.
Right.
Paint your worries away. Sandrine is saying that we didn't just airbrush things. Some of us did actually draw things into negatives. Interesting.
Yes.
Analog.
Yeah, that's right. And of course, some people are much better at this than I am. And that's cool. You can spend your time. You're not live on stream. But I think honestly, that's good enough. Right? Most of this won't even be seen on...
yeah, we have like half an hour left.
Yeah.
So we can animate. What are we animating? That's like the most important question.
Yes, and we will get to that. But for now, I just quickly have to expand this down here because if we zoom in and we happen to see that edge, that wouldn't be great. So let's merge those layers. And naming your layers, very important. You will notice why in a moment. So let's name our layers.
Always name your layers.
Always name your layers. Always name your layers. If you like it, you should better put a link on it. Where's my link?
Link. I love this.
Link.
Link it.
Can't find it. There was supposed to be a link somewhere. Link layers. There we are. If you like it, you should better put a link on it. Anyway, subject.
I love this.
Or should we name him?
Tim, baby Tim.
No, not Tim. Perhaps someone from the chat.
Someone from the chat. Hyper Groovy. No.
That's not a name.
I don't know. That's
hypergroovy.com. Go to hypergroovy.com, by the way.
That's what Tony just wrote.
Good.
Come on, guys. Give us your creative layers names so we can put them in here. Grape juice, sure. Let's see. Turkey. Can we put turkey? Rufus. Caroline is saying Rufus.
Fine.
Okay. Done. Are we done? Yeah, but why is it important to name your layers, Tim? Should we?
You will notice in a moment why it's important. Right. So let's quickly expand this down here, and for this, I guess we can just to mix things up, I will use the clone stamp tool and just sample from here. And
clone stamp is my favorite tool ever. When that came up, I was like, whoa! I was super mind blown. It's like I can't believe this can be done.
Right. And again, we don't have to be very accurate here because
let's just say that Tim is on like specific timing, so let's ignore that part. Like
we actually don't have to be accurate here, and I will.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not kidding around. We don't really have to be, because we won't see this at the end.
Okay, good to know.
This is really only for perhaps one or two pixels happen to show at the end. That's all it is, like really. So let's just take the brush tool and low opacity. And just paint some of these things away so it's not super obvious. All right, and that should already be it. And let's paint this out so it doesn't look too weird. There we go. And clone stamp that using the J key. No, what was the clone stamp tool? Help me out. Shortcut key S, of course.
Yeah.
S for stamping.
S for stamping.
Right, good enough. Because as you will notice, most of this is hidden behind the table. Anyway, nobody will notice. Right, and at the end of a long day, the kid will just look like this anyway. It's like drank too much.
Oh wow, the kid is gone.
Oh, hang on. Turn off auto select. I don't like that anyway. Ooh.
Oh.
Anyway, all right. So let's save this.
Save it as.
Save as, and let's save it on my computer, and let's call it Festive Challenge UK. And of course, because we are very organized, we will put it on the desktop. Okay.
Just to find out where it is.
Right. Okay. And one more thing before I forget. Julia, actually, from the German stream, brought up this idea. We wanted to add some more interesting elements to this mug, like perhaps some steam, because it's a hot drink, I hope. So why don't we, talking about misusing Photoshop filters, why don't I use the path tool to draw out something like this?
Like
on a new layer, of course. Then go to Filter, Render, Flame. Pick one of the presets. Perhaps this one.
Look at that. Oh.
Right. Play with the length, have some fun, see the width, perhaps one a bit more than that. Yep, there we are. And use custom colors. That's a great color picker. Let's use this one.
Whitish. Tony's saying this is going to be a very hot drink. That's such a cool tip.
Right. And now deselect the path.
Maybe
and of course, we have to play with opacity and blend mode, perhaps. So let's... Oh, let's do that in After Effects, actually. Let's call that Steam. And reduce the opacity. And warp it quickly. Yep, there we are. That's much better. Love it. All right.
Fast tool. Amazing
tip. And we could refine that a bit more, but honestly, for a quick, easy fix to create some steam, why not? So let's save it again. And let's go on over to After Effects. There we are. Look at that. Let's create a new project.
Lovely.
And now, let me go to the desktop, which is, of course, over here. Festive Challenge UK.psd. There it is. Let's have After Effects at the top and just take the image, click and drop it into After Effects. Now, this part is important. Very important. Because After Effects is asking you, how would you like to use this file? Right?
How are we going to use it?
We don't want it as footage. We want it as a composition. Truthfully, I don't think it matters if we retain layer sizes. At least I didn't notice a difference. So I would just stick with composition. And for us, these radio buttons also don't make any difference. So we can just keep it as editable layers. And there's a description down here, which you can read on your own time. So let's click OK. Let's zoom out, make After Effects bigger once again. There we go. And now you will notice that we have a new composition.
Different layers, the same layers we saw on Photoshop.
We also have the individual layers, which we won't need because what we will do, and now you notice why it's important to have them named because there's no preview icon, right? So instead I will just always name your layers, always name your layers.
Always name your layers.
And now let's click on the composition, double click and boom, opening it immediately. Now, you will also notice here, no preview images, so very important to name your layers. Always name your layers. Right, and now comes the fun part, animating your work. Because for now we just separated the image into different layers, and now we will animate those layers in After Effects. There are two ways to do this. One would be just for me to take the table image, add a keyframe, move it over, and then have it animate from there to there. That would work, but then I would have to figure out the perspective, how much I have to move it, how to scale it, and I would have to do this for every single layer. Not great. I could do it, but not on stream. And also this is called 3D layers, so why don't we add some 3D? Let's go down here.
How are we going to do that in 3D?
Yeah, you're about to find out. Yo-yo layers. We will switch on 3D by clicking on this icon. It says 3D layer. If you don't see that, perhaps you have to click on toggle switches and modes because maybe you're seeing the blend modes instead. So we want the
Okay.
switches. If your screen is big enough, you will see both. But since I'm sharing this with you, I selected a smaller resolution. That's why I have this switch. And now I can just click in here and say, yep, all of these, please make them 3D. Lovely. And now you will notice there's a new icon, like a gizmo. Has 3 axes. It has a Y, an X, and a Z or a Z axis, which goes out of or into the screen, depending on how you want to view it. And now we can just animate our work. To illustrate how I will move those layers, I will actually show you a second view by just clicking here on 2 views and making this one from the left or the right or the top or whatever, but this time from the left. So we are looking at the same composition just from 2 different angles, but it's the same. And I will also add a new camera. So right click, add new camera. We can give it a name. Any name suggestions in the chat for naming the camera?
Let's see. Any names suggested for the camera? Sensei? Tim Sensei.
Tim Sensei. Okay.
Tim Sensei. So one question, Tim. We're adding a new camera here for a different view. What will the role of this new camera be?
So essentially what we will be doing is I will tell Photoshop, I will tell After Effects where these layers are in space. And then we will take a virtual camera, which I'm creating right now, and we will move that camera through space. And then After Effects will figure out, if the camera is here and looking over there, then this layer should be here, that one there, and there, and there, and there. And this will allow us to sort of create a virtual stage, so to say, and move our camera through the scene. So we don't have to animate all the individual layers. All the individual layers, all the individual layers, all the individual layers. I'm gonna stop now. Robert. I mean, yes, of course, the great Robert Ranitsky, one of our hosts. Perhaps we should name him Robert, because he also loves After Effects. Cool. Yeah, the rest of this is just fine. We don't need to change anything unless we really want to get into that. But since we're working with rather arbitrary measurements anyway, this all doesn't really matter. We can just keep it the way it is. So let's create. Okay, and now you will also see that camera, which is now over here. Hence my second view.
There we go.
And let's fit to screen so we can see everything. And now the part that is the reason why we separated everything, we can now go ahead and just move the layers in space. Right?
Wow.
So we can also, instead of, if you don't want to use the gizmo, you can also, let's put it back. You can also click down here, say P for position. And then you can play with the third value, because now you have one for X, one for Y, and one for Z. And Z is the axis we want to change. And since we also will change the scale, I will also add the scale parameter by holding Shift and tapping S, because if I just tapped S, then we would just have the scale. But since I want both, I have to hold down Shift. And now I have position and scale for every layer. Just a small trick. So let's put the table at the front. This one should be closest to the camera. So, now I selected every layer. That's great, Tim. Well done. I just want to have one layer. Let's put this table down. Now, of course, since it's way too big, I have to scale it down until it fits the screen again. There we go. Oh, I will do this with the steam and the grape juice, because they should be somewhat on the same layer. So let's move them closer to the camera. Oh, let's just do it that way. And I suppose we should scale them again. Just scale them down. Hang on. Scale. There we go. Until it matches again. And now you will see why we added some extra pixels. So I don't have to be super precise. I can just somewhat move over here to roughly match this. Because if I didn't, there would have been some empty pixels. And while this isn't perfect, obviously, just a couple of pixels won't hurt anyone. Like if it's here or if it's here, nobody will notice. And if I did a better job at this, it would be even more convincing. But oh well, I did it. Let's fit this again, and let's move on. And let me know if there are any questions in the chat, as always. Let's keep Rufus at this, and instead of moving him to the front, we will just take the background and move that one to the back. So there's some very great Christmas music going on now.
Oh yeah, groovy.
Because who doesn't like famous winter festive songs that are jazzy? It's all the rage. Let me tell you.
I feel like I need my grape juice here.
And let's make that a bit quieter. It's getting on my nerves. Right, so I have scaled that background up because I moved it farther away from the camera. Because if you move things further away from the camera, you have to scale them up so they fit again. And now we have our finished scene, essentially. And I can take the camera, so I will click on this, and I can just twirl that all up again. We don't need that anymore. There you go. I select the camera and go up here to the camera tools, which one of them is the orbit tool, one of them is the pan tool, and of course the dolly. The orbit tool just orbits around our point of interest. The pan tool just moves side to side, up and down, and the dolly tool moves in or out of the scene. And you will see that in just a moment. So let's enable keyframes because we want to animate this, remember. So under transform, I will enable the keyframe for point of interest, which means where is the camera looking, and I will apply for the position, which means just where the camera is at the moment. And both of them will allow us to make sure where the camera is and where it is pointing at. Right. Okay, so now let's use our tools, and for the first time, let's actually look at the scene in 3D, and you can see...
Oh, look at that!
We can actually, of course, this is a very extreme version. You wouldn't do it like this. You would do it more subtly. But we can actually move around in 3D. And if you look on the right side, you will actually see the camera tilting and panning around. And of course, we wouldn't do it that much. So let me just reset that layer, reset robot camera, and let's make it more subtle animation. Let's start here. Let's actually, you know what? We can zoom out just a tiny bit. And perhaps after about 6 seconds, we could zoom in. And you notice how the twigs, for example, they are independent from the background. So that's why we did this. So perhaps let's zoom in.
And how are we like setting the scene? Like right now you're changing, right? Like you're changing the positions.
Yes.
And how are we?
I'm using the 3 tools at the top. Pan tool to move left, up and down and right. Dolly tool to zoom in and out. You can also use the keyboard shortcut, Shift 3 or 3. And the orbit tool to pan around the object like this. So this is the orbit tool. This is the pan tool. You will notice we were just moving left to right. And the dolly tool is the one I just used, which is this one, where you can move in and out. And you can always have a look at the right, where the camera, you can literally see it moving in and out. So if we wanted to do it extreme, we could start here perhaps and gently reveal the rest of the image. That's totally possible. But I won't do that since that's a bit much for my taste.
Exactly. And actually, Annika's asking if the subjects are on different layers. Yes, we can confirm that. But then she asked...
where we spent the first half of the stream in Photoshop, separated layers. And all the single layers. You could very much just do it in After Effects because, as you probably know, there are some features in here which allow you to make masks, either by using the Path tool, the Pen tool, or perhaps even the Roto brush tool, which is sort of like Quick Select, where you can paint over a certain area and After Effects will go ahead and mask it out for you. However, I thought it was much easier to do it in Photoshop and then show how to bring that into After Effects to then animate everything. All right, so I've created those 2 keyframes, and now perhaps let's just limit that down and let's have a quick look. I will play that and you will see we are actually moving into the frame. Isn't that lovely? And if we wanted to, oh, no, hang on. I could, of course, let's say I wanted to make it a different move instead. I can do this and perhaps make it more dramatic so we can actually see it's 3D. So perhaps we can
This
move
is so cool. Like, this is like another perspective on camera setups and how you can play around in After Effects. This is really cool.
Yeah. And you can really have some fun in here. So now, hopefully, yeah, now we can see it. Like, look at that. We're actually zooming in. Isn't that great? And the more time you spend, perhaps even adding more than just those 4, 5, 6 layers, you could even make the face a separate layer, the head a separate layer. You could also transform those layers because, I mean, let me tell you, nobody is stopping you from just doing this to the table. If you look at the right, we can actually make it horizontal and then we could warp it back. So you could even add some layers which aren't just flat. And this is a whole different world where you could transform, warp, and animate and do everything you wanted to do. Now, this is a winter scene. So I feel like there should be some snow in there, don't you think?
We need some snow.
We need some snow. So let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Let it snow.
Let it snow, let it snow.
Let it snow for those who don't have snow where they are.
Can't hold it back anymore. Right, snow. Let's make it black. Doesn't really matter since it will be transparent anyway, but oh well. And by adding snow, I could go to Adobe Stock, perhaps, find some great snow presets and videos. But, you know, why don't we make our very own snow and animate it too?
We're making our own snow. This is amazing. Let's see.
Okay, so let me move my camera a bit down so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to the effects and presets, and I'm searching for particle world. There it is, CC particle world. I will take this and just drop it on the snow layer. And immediately, you will see if I move this layer a bit further. I think the grape juice wasn't that fresh anymore. He doesn't seem very... Oh dear. Okay. Let's change it to make it actually look like snow. First of all, I will move the position of this particle generator by clicking on the filter. And I know this is very hard to see, but there's like a circle in here. And I can click on that. And I can move it up. And I can also scale it so it's coming from all sides. There we are. I can make it a tiny bit larger.
Okay.
Right. You know where we're getting it? That's getting better. Now it sparkles. Not too bad. I will change the birth rate perhaps because we don't want that much snow. I will change the longevity because I want those sparks or later snowflakes to hang around a bit more than that. Yeah, there we are. Better. Then I will go to my, we already changed that, to physics. Instead of explosive, I will change it to either twirl or twirly. I pick twirl because this makes it look much more random.
More realistic.
Right.
Oh, lovely.
Getting there, getting there. And let's reduce the velocity a bit. Let's reduce the gravity a lot because we want to have low falling snow. So perhaps 0.05. See? Slower. And let's even decrease the velocity even more because we don't want to move that fast.
Oh, this is amazing.
And since this doesn't look very much like snow, I mean, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't, I will actually go to the particle category and first of all, change the color from yellow and red to white and white. Better. And I would change it from line. I could use star if I wanted to, but that looks cheesy. I would change it to shaded sphere. No, not shaded sphere, sorry. Faded sphere. There we go. And make the size much smaller. And I think now we could even go back and increase the birth rate.
Oh,
Right?
lovely.
Huh?
Sandrine is asking, beautiful. Sandrine is asking, though, that since the snow layer is in 3D, will we have the camera attached to the snow layer?
I will show you.
Let's see.
I will show you. Let me just let's switch to the default camera, so we're not messing with the one we have. Let's use the orbit tool and watch what happens. The snow layer already is 3D because this is a 3D effect. So you actually see that the snow is indeed happening in 3D. So you could, and if like those snowflakes weren't moving, you would actually see the camera moving through the snow. So, and this is great if you perhaps are doing some dust in the air that's just hanging around and it's not moving at all. You can just move through that with your virtual camera.
That's so interesting.
If you make those shapes super, super large, and of course you can add your custom images to those shapes and think about having perhaps some fog images, putting those on the particles, making them super big, then you could have automatically, volumetrically generated fog. Super duper easy. But we're not doing that. And by the way, this is the camera, which now is looking. And if I now play this, you'll actually see how the camera is moving. And we could even go ahead and play around with these tools and adjust where and how the camera is moving. Perhaps we want to move it on a curve and not just straight. So yeah, lots of different things to
lots of things to try and experiment with.
And now the camera is moving on a curve. And because we only have about 3 minutes left, I will first of all switch back to Robert, our cameraman. And now have a look at that. Yep, there we are. Very nice. And one thing I noticed is this steam is not animated. It's just hanging in there. That's okay. That's great. But I would rather have it animated. So why don't we do that really quickly? And this is also the reason why I made it a separate layer. And I didn't merge it with the other one. Because now we can animate it. And I'm using the turbulent displays.
Turbulent
displays. That's what I'm using because, as you immediately will see, I can now keyframe the evolution, move it over, and by twisting this, the mist will actually start to wave, and we can reduce the complexity perhaps a bit, make the size much bigger and the amount much less. And now, hopefully, I mean, you can't really see it. Perhaps we should solo that layer for a moment so you can see what's going on.
It moves along.
But yeah, it's indeed moving. And perhaps we can make it a bit more obvious by increasing the amount. And now, yeah, you can really see it. This is way too much, of course. And I'm not sure if it's coming across on stream.
Oh, wow, I love this.
Right?
Let's do it. Can you see the whole piece with that?
Yeah, of course. This is way too much, of course, I think.
Oh, come on. This is amazing. I love this.
And a final thing, just to give you some interesting. Oh yeah, we could move the offset. That's a good point. Ooh, I like that idea. Hang on. Now
Pierre is suggesting that to pull the offset upper to get.
Because what that would do is take the noise and literally move it upwards, so the steam is actually rising. That's a super duper great idea. I love that. Pierre? I was hoping I would have thought of that. I didn't. But a great idea, really. Look at that. That actually looks cool. I do have to say, that looks actually really cool. Just moving it up.
It's so realistic. I can't wait to get my own piece on After Effects.
Right? Super duper cool. Anyway, but I wanted to show you one last thing, and then I promise I'm done.
Honestly.
Let's go over to Rufus. And I really want to, he's looking at over there, and I want to just move his head slightly. So like,
okay.
Just a bit, not much. Because if you do it, if you overdo it, it looks cheesy. So I will use the Puppet Warp tool and just, sorry Rufus, stick some pins in your face. Promise it won't hurt. Pinky promise. So just stick some pins, and maybe you know this tool from Photoshop. Maybe you don't, I don't know. Where now I can just do perhaps this. and just move his face over just a bit, not much. And just anything to make it move super subtly, because if you overdo it, like I said, it often looks just cheesy. But, super duper subtle. But it just adds that extra snap of animation. And of course, you could, if perhaps you have someone who's waving in the photo, you could perhaps animate their arms slightly. Or if you have like a flag or anything, you could make that wave in the background. Really anything to make it, just to make it pop. And this is our finished photo. And for bonus points, if you make the first keyframe the same as the last one, you could loop it. So this could be an infinite looping animation, which this one isn't because we don't have time for that. But this is my festive challenge. And just imagine, perhaps, I don't know, if you have them, your grandparents or your parents or your relatives, receiving like a super old photo that you colorized and animated. Just imagine what they would, how much they would love you for this.
I mean, we already have the chat here, like super amazed by all this, what you can do in 1 hour, right? Or even under 1 hour. It's amazing. And I just feel like we have to have like a snow crystal ball and put that in there, like and have it animated. Amazing.
Anything you want to do, really, you can do. Anything you can do, I can do better.
Yes. So
do anything in After Effects with you. Sorry.
We are at the end of our session. I want to thank you so much, Tim, for this amazing session. I learned so much, and the community here has, like I said, has been amazed with the results. So please, guys, don't forget to submit your own submissions using any of the Adobe apps. Experiment, have so much fun. The theme is festive season. So here we go. You can see it on the screen. Do submit your work by December 15th, because you're gonna get amazing prizes and we get to see your work and share it with the community. So yeah, thanks again for joining us. We do have an amazing schedule for next week, so stay tuned. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's gonna be super exciting. Again, we're gonna see the takes on the festive challenge with Maddie, Joe Allen, and Karina, the amazing illustrator that from Germany. So it's gonna be such a global community event. So yeah, thank you, Tim. Oh, here we go. Yes.
Yeah, don't forget, you can win some stuff.
This.
And a CC subscription. No pints and no prints, though. Just make that clear.
So yeah, thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day, and see you soon.
And thank you, Natalie, for hosting. Bye, everybody.